You are listening to Fox Radio 910 and 104.3. I want to welcome you to Let's Talk About, our weekly radio program sponsored by Crowning Touch Senior Moving Services of Roanoke, Virginia. My name is Linda Balentine, the president of Crowning Touch and your host for this series. I interview local characters, service providers, politicians, teachers, entrepreneurs, and business professionals, and each one is dedicated to improving life in our valley. Every person has an interesting perspective to share from all walks of life. So, let's begin today's interview. Today on Let's Talk About, we're stepping into the world of cinema history right here in Roanoke. The Grandin Theater is more than just a movie house. It's a cultural landmark, a community gathering place, and a living reminder of how film can bring people together. My guest is Ian Fortier, Executive Director of the Grandin Theater Foundation. And under his leadership, the Grandin has navigated the challenges of changing technology, streaming services, and even a pandemic, all while keeping its mission rooted in community and the magic of the big screen. Ian, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here.
Well, let's get right down to it. The Grandin has been one of my favorite theaters for a long time. I love it because it features special stuff that no one else wants to bother to show.
Well, thank you.
But I think for the sake of our listeners, people want to hear, let's start with the history of the Grandin. Share that with us.
Yeah, so the Grandin is a Depression-era cinema house. It's part of a huge wave of theaters that were built in the late 1920s, and up until probably the end of the 1930s. And the reason why there was sort of a big boom of theater construction at that time is because that's when Hollywood figured out how to sync sound with picture. So sort of a Singing in the Rain.
Cool development.
Type of thing. So the Grandin was actually the first talking cinema house in the Roanoke area. All the theaters that existed before that were silent film houses. So from sort of 1932 all the way up till 2001, it was privately owned. It was a for-profit business.
Gotcha.
So, and there were many incantations of that. Some highs, some lows, a couple of closures. Some mixed-use attempts. Mill Mountain Theater was here from 1977 to 1983.
Wow.
So they did 7 years and over 30 full-length productions. Then there was a great year of live music in the middle of the 80s. And then sort of from 86 to 2001 was what we call the Julie Hunsaker years, when she was in charge of the building and did a great job of making teen employment culture and bringing in art house films and bringing the gallery that we're sitting in right now.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
And then we've seen the price go from, 25 cents a ticket? Wasn't that, what did it start at?
Yeah. No, I think in 1932 it was like 2 cents for a Coke and a quarter for admission.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
How things have changed.
Yeah. We still try to focus on being the lowest prices in town, though.
And I think you are. Let me ask you this. Let's talk about, give me something else that makes the Grandin Theater stand out from other cinemas.
Well, I think, it's easy to topically compare this to like an AMC or a Regal or an Alamo because we're all movie houses. But the difference is, those are major national and international corporations. They have many different buildings, many different theaters, and they're very important from a first-run film perspective. But the Grandin is an economic and geographic and historic anchor of the historic Grandin Village. This is one of the most popular mixed-use, pedestrian-friendly, boutique retail commercial districts that we have in all of Southwest Virginia.
That's right, yeah.
So here, the building is incredibly relevant, and we hold that in the highest regard because it anchors this community.
Sure, because it's surrounded by people who can just walk to the village and experience a night at the theater, and then, and then there's a restaurant on the way home.
And there's co-op in a movie, there's dropping your kids off at ballet, picking them up in a movie, there's ice cream in a movie, there's dinner in a movie, there's shopping in a movie, there's something in a movie.
And so many independent theaters are disappearing. Do you feel threatened, or do you feel like the community? I feel the community is always going to support. If you've got the doors open, I feel like they're going to support you. How do you feel?
So just the first part of that question, independent cinemas nationwide are struggling. A lot of our peers are struggling. Those who are innovating and diversifying their programming are having a better go at it. But we've lost 1,000 screens since COVID.
What is the closest independent theater to us right now?
So we have the Lyric in Blacksburg.
Okay.
And then up the road, there's the Buchanan, and then the Gretna. In Richmond, there's the Bird.
Is there anything in Lexington? I don't think so.
I'm not sure if there's anything in Lexington. I think Buchanan is closest. And then you've got the Radford Theater, you've got the Pulaski Theater, you've got the Millwald in Wytheville. So there's a number of old independent theaters up and down 81.
Okay.
But what we've found is that this community has supported this building for nearly a century.
Yeah.
And we try not to come from a desperation model. We come from an abundance model because we want to make sure that everyone has something to see, whether you're 2 or 92.
Right.
There's something for you to do at the Grandin, and it's affordable and it's accessible and it's community based.
So what role do local partnerships and community support play? In other words, are you looking at your demographic, you're looking at age groups when you go ahead and pick and chart what your menu is going to be for the month?
We do. From a programming perspective, though, there's various aspects to what we do. So we were, prior to COVID, what's called a first-run movie theater 365 days a year, which means every single day you're open for new release movies. And we didn't really like that model. It was kind of restraining because unlike AMC and Regal, we have lots of people in our community that want to use this building for other reasons.
Oh, okay.
And then in COVID, when Hollywood kind of shelved their first-run films, for almost a year and a half, we got an opportunity to kind of come out of COVID and say, we really just want to do first run new releases on the weekends because 95% of the people that were coming before COVID were coming on the weekends anyway.
Right.
So we do first run new releases on the weekend, and we do have a very intentional, very proactive staff that tries to program a balance. We're looking at making sure that we don't have similar films that would appear to similar demographics,
right,
but we're trying to offer maybe something art house, something from a senior demographic, something from a kids and family demographic, something that's maybe a little bit wild and adventurous, some, shoot 'em up, and every once in a while we'll do a blockbuster film, especially in the summertime. And then we look for those really strong art house things, which are a lot harder to find than they were before COVID because they don't make great drama for TV screens for movie screens anymore.
Right.
It's now parsed out on streaming. It's The Bear, it's Ozarks, it's Ted Lasso's, it's The Handmaid's Tale. Hollywood figured out they could take great art house drama and make it multi-episodic, multi-seasonal, and
Gotcha.
And that used to be made for movie screens.
Right. So it stripped you of that resource.
It has.
Material.
It's been a lot harder to find that really rich art house content after COVID, but we're starting to see the pendulum swing back. We're starting to see filmmakers that are intentionally making movies to be shown on screens again. So is it
mostly European? Are the Europeans still doing most of the art house things coming from Europe? They used to be coming from Europe.
Well, we have a lot of American content. And then you have some stuff like, you're looking for Anatomy of a Fall, or you're looking for, other great films that have come out of Europe. We do try to make sure that the Best Picture, foreign, Best International Film nominees that you'll find at the Oscars, most of them will screen here, even if it's just for some weekend. You'll usually find that 8 to 10 out of the Best Picture nominees annually will come through the Grandin as well.
So how do they seek you out, or is there a published list that
I have a booking agent.
I got you.
I have a booking agent, but we work it from both sides. So she's in California, and I've worked with her all 11 years that I've been here. And she's constantly putting stuff in front of us from the industry down to the theater. And we are also intentionally tracking stuff that we're sending to her and saying, this is what we have an interest in, because she knows the industry better than we do regarding what's available from a content perspective. But we know our market better than she does because we're here. Right. So we have a very complementary relationship, and that's how we kind of source our first run films.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So the community, you say, likes to use this building. Delineate some of the other uses. What's going on here when it's not on the screen?
So, one of the things that differentiates the Grandin from a corporate mall movie theater or a big multiplex is that we're also a cultural community center. The history of this building and the fact that it is a community engagement model means that we do all sorts of other things. We do probably 150 rentals a year. Last night we had a nonprofit youth organization have their annual banquet on a Monday night. There were 150 people in the room.
You set up tables?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have caterers. We'll do corporate business seminars. We'll do 100th anniversary parties for construction companies. We do lots of profit engagement. And Ronald McDonald House has been here this year. Ram House has been here this year. The Roanoke Public Libraries utilizes this building on a regular basis. We've had United Way campaign launches. We've had Roanoke Reed campaign launches. Carillion comes into this building. Multiple banks utilize it for
birthday parties.
Birthday parties, anniversary parties. Over 30 schools a year from kindergarten up through college come into this building.
Come on.
Yeah, so we have a very diversified programmatic model, and so the Friday through Sundays is where you'll see those first run movies, those new releases, and then Monday through Thursday we do everything else, whether it's an external organization utilizing the building for a community-based programming or campaign launch or just messaging, community conversations, or sometimes it'll be our own internal programming. So we do Black History Month, we do Women's History Month, we do Pride Month. We do Hispanic Heritage. We have a Hispanic Heritage concert here tomorrow night. We'll do over 15 live concerts a year. We do comedy. We do storytelling, spoken word, some dance, some author series.
So you're good for the next 100 years. It sounds like
that's our goal. Our goal is for
covered.
this building to stand here as long as humanity wants it.
Then how did you hold your breath during the pandemic? Did you learn any lessons? Did it take a long time? So
Tons.
You probably changed. Well, delineate a little bit of that for me.
Tons. So I got here in 2014. I had been at the Jefferson Center for 5 years. And from 2014 to around the end of 2019, spent about a half a decade sort of making sure that we standardize the product. I tell my staff all the time, you can't make somebody like a movie, but you can make them like everything else. Right. And, when you step into the Grandin, there are some aspects to it that are, I wouldn't say unique, but rare. One, somebody's giving you money before they walk through the door. They're standing at the box office and paying you. They're essentially investing in their experience, right? It's not like a dinner where you go out, eat food, and then they say, how was it? And you say, well, this was cold and my meat was undercooked. And,
and you negotiate the final tab.
There's almost the investment before you even step into the building when you're at the box office. And then when you do come into the building, there's a sense of escapism. But COVID was interesting because, we went from being a first-run movie theater for 5 years, 365 days a year, to having no films to show. I mean, we were dark for, just like everybody else, we ducked our heads for like 3 months. And then when the governor released the mandates about how many people could be in a room and what the bubbles were and what the distancing, we decided that in July of 2020, instead of showing 140 screenings a week, we were just going to show one movie.
Okay.
And it was these classics like Jurassic Park, Friday night at 7, only in the main theater, socially distanced. We had 319 seats. We sold 90. We're going to sell 90 tickets. And we did that for July. It was like Indiana Jones and Dirty Dancing and these older films.
Right.
And we sold all 4 nights out.
I bet you did.
At 90 tickets.
People had nowhere to go.
And then so we did the same thing in August. And then in September, we added Saturday nights. And then we did that essentially for a year, and we were doing popcorn service on the curb. And the one thing that we really started doing was we started renting the building during COVID because people were dying to get out of their houses.
Right.
So a family would come, or a couple families that were in the bubbles together would come, and just for a couple $100, would
they see a movie?
Yeah.
Is that how you did it?
Yeah. And sometime it was just like, they want to put Barney on screen.
Yeah.
And they want their kids to dance on stage.
Right, I got you.
Or they wanted to watch some YouTube clips, or they wanted to watch old sports highlights. It was less movies than you thought, right? And it was something that you couldn't even present it in a way that was public. It was just like, get out of, and it was for a couple $100.
Right. So it was the magic of the screen. Screens are magical, especially oversized screens. They tintillate you sometimes.
Yeah. People wanted to watch some sports. They wanted to have their kids dance around. They wanted to watch cartoons.
Wow, isn't that neat?
And so we did over 300 of those.
Now, could they,
in a year.
And they still, for the right amount of money and the right party size, do the same type of thing?
Yeah, and it's different. Rentals are a little bit different. So we want to make sure that we, have birthday. We do a lot of events here that aren't movie related. You wouldn't think so, but we do a lot of stuff like that. But we also, we do large family, like there's a lot of schools that do family nights. So the school rent out the theater, they'll license a film, and then they'll invite all the families to come, and you'll get 200, 300 people on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, and they all buy popcorn and, lemonade for the kids. And we'll license a film that they want to see. And we do a lot of that. We do a lot of film licensing for our free series, where we'll bring in classic, you're familiar with the classic series.
Yes, indeed.
And then, the kids' summer matinee and the summer blockbuster, where we license these second run films, and we bring people into the building for various reasons, either free or for $6.
So this is how you push back against the streaming services. This is
you have to be. I've said this multiple times, and I'll continue to say it. If you're in charge of a historic, iconic building that's for public usage, if you're not abundantly and wholly programming as diversely as you can, you're underserving the building, and you're providing a disservice to the community.
What kinds of films then consistently draw people to the Grandin? Or do you find that people are more selective? How have the tastes changed since you've been?
It's changed a lot, and COVID was the main reason, right? So as I mentioned before COVID, we were in this sort of heyday of what I consider to be art house films. These are sort of the $40 to $90 million budgets. They're cast driven, they're script driven. It's not a bunch of pyrotechnics and CGI, right? It's really movies made by movie makers.
What's CGI?
Computer generated images.
Gotcha.
So like, the Jurassic Park, where they make dinosaurs out of computers and stuff like that. So, we're sort of in a heyday, 2018, 2019, Shape of Water, 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, Manchester by the Sea, Lion, Hidden Figures. I mean, they just kept coming. And then COVID happened, and the major blockbuster films like the James Bonds or the Mulans got shelved by the bigger companies because they could afford to take the hit. They'd already invested the money, but they could afford to take the hit. Now, these smaller mid-level companies that make these art house films couldn't afford to take the hit because they'd already invested all their money. So a lot of them panicked and went straight to streaming.
I gotcha.
And now what we're seeing is, just to summarize it, is we're seeing people come out to the movies to see big movies on big screens. Gotcha. And smaller movies that are the more art housey stuff, the more documentary style stuff.
Which they aren't going to get on their home TV, are they?
Well, they do.
Oh, they do.
They get everything. Okay. Almost everything goes to streaming. So we're seeing people and people and families come to see the bigger movies on the bigger films and stay home to watch the smaller, the more documentary, the foreign films, maybe the lesser known art housey style stuff. It's harder to draw that.
Are you able to get the 18 to 24-year-old crowd in here, the ones that are starting to have some of their own money?
Yeah, so it's interesting that you asked that. So we started investing 11 years ago when I got here in programming for families and young kids.
Right.
And now we see a lot of those 17, 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-olds with debit cards in their hands. And they can't remember not coming to this theater, right? Wow. So we kind of close that from the back end.
Wow, that's cool.
And we still kind of program that way. But we also see them come for non-first-run film stuff. So when we do concerts, depending on who the artist is, you'll see a lot of 20 and 30-year-olds in the crowd.
So you get feedback. How do you gather the feedback from your audience?
We do a lot of verbal.
Okay.
We do
when they're coming in the door?
That's right. Coming in and coming out, right? We do capture a lot of that. We do surveys for organizations or people that rent from us. We'll send them an email survey. But we do a lot of word of mouth. We do a lot of vibe. We don't do a lot of hard tracking and data statistics, which is something we're moving towards, right? Because we want to know and be able to get a better understanding. And we've been using a different ticketing platform for the last 2.5 years, which captures data a lot more.
Yeah, because I was going to say, doesn't it cost money to gather that data?
Well, we have a pretty rich ticketing system, which allows us to collect a lot of data. But it's also telling us from first look after the first year and a half, it's also telling us a lot of the stuff we know already.
Right.
We're interested in connecting dots at the second and third level.
Gotcha.
So, and advanced sales is one of the ways that you can do that because we collect a lot of data on an online advance sale. A box office sale is pretty anonymous. We're not asking people to give us their address when there's a line of people trying to get into a movie.
And aren't they still buying a lot of tickets online anyway? So you aren't
more and more. We sell more and more
Yeah.
tickets online. So
Let's talk about concession.
yeah,
Your concession stand looks like no concession stand around.
it's a lot of fun.
And it's very special. And don't you make, you get a different percentage of the money off of your concessions, don't you, than off of your theater?
Yeah, well, so you can pay anywhere from, for older films, you can pay anywhere from 35% of ticket sales. And then first run films can be anywhere from like 45 to 65 cents on the dollar.
Wow.
Can go back to Hollywood.
Wow.
So make no
Doesn't leave you much.
Well, make no business. We're not in the movie business.
You're not going to get rich on that.
We're in the popcorn business.
Yeah. Popcorn. And now let's talk about some of the other things that you offer downstairs, because it's not just Coke anymore.
Yeah. So we have all the fountain drinks, and then we have some of our bottled drinks. Obviously the best popcorn in town. I say that with utmost humility. And, lots of the candy offerings, the junior mints and the whatnots. And then we have a bar. We serve draft beer, canned beer, seltzers, ciders, Prosecco's. The popcorn and Prosecco, the P&P is very popular here. And then, red wines, white wines. It's much more of a qualitative experience. People come in here to have a drink with their movie or two drinks, we often have like moms tell us, I get to go out once a month and I just want to go to the movies and drink two glasses of wine with my friends. And that's also come into play a lot with a lot of our larger live events, which is really important.
So there's no intermission. Do people buy two glasses of wine and take it to the seat? Do they escape for a quick one?
Sometimes people will order a double. So they don't have to come out. And then sometimes people will come out for a second halfway through the film.
I gotcha. Right. Let's talk about your hours. How do your hours, what's going on here? If people wanted to get a ticket and they didn't want to get it online, when are you open for them to ask you questions? You've got, if you just call, you've got that wonderful recording that shares
We have the
everything.
Recording. We also answer our phone a lot, which is something you won't find at other movie theaters.
That's for sure.
Our solid box office hours are those Friday through Sundays, when we're open at 11 in the morning on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. For first run films on the weekends.
What time did you say that was?
We open around 11 a.m.
Okay. And
Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. And we close around 9 p.m. after the last movies are loaded and everyone has their last bit of concessions.
All right. So so that means most of your movies kick off around noon?
Yeah.
On a Sunday?
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yep. Okay. On the weekend days. And then Monday through Thursday, it's sort of based on what's happening that week, right?
Gotcha.
We have last night we had a huge 170 people Young Life annual banquet.
Wow.
Tonight we have a private party. Tomorrow we have a mariachi concert. Thursday we have a candlelight concert.
So you've got a good staff here that is really available to do all that, or do these people supplement when they have these events? Do they bring their help, or they expect you to provide that?
Both, but my staff is the basis for everything, because if somebody is an external technician or they're a renter, they're walking in cold.
Gotcha.
So my staff is incredibly adept. And since COVID, when we kind of transitioned to what I would call this hybrid model, we do, we switch often from film to live and back to film again, sometimes multiple times in a week.
Wow.
So my staff is
a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it also is very rewarding.
Let's talk about the size of the theaters and how many theaters are actually in here. Explain how you've got it divided up.
So all these theaters, this one especially in Depression era, were usually built with a main floor and then a balcony.
So the main floor is where the stage is?
The main floor is where the stage is. So we call that the main theater, and it seats 319 people. And then the balcony, which is from 1932, was walled off in the late 80s or early 90s. And then divided in half. So upper left and upper right are the former balconies, right? We call those the twins.
And now they have screens in them.
They've had screens in them for several decades now.
Okay.
And they have 74 seats each. And then on the main floor, we have the screening room, which is the baby.
Okay, gotcha.
It has 36 seats.
Let's talk about how you see the future. We were toying around with the idea of an elevator in this building because there isn't one right now.
Right.
Fortunately, they're handrails, and you pull yourself up the daggone steps.
Right.
If you can still do that.
Yeah.
But there's theaters downstairs, so that it's not like you can't participate and watch the theater. But what are your plans for growth. If you look over the next 5 years, 10-year plans, I know you've got a board. What are you all thinking about doing?
So one of the things we're doing right now is we're working on the back of the building. Because we do a lot of live events now, we now have performers and gear.
Oh, wow. Yeah, sure.
And this building was not built to have people or stuff backstage. It was built as a movie house where you just needed a screen and some speakers.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So, in the past 3 years, we've renovated our main theater. We raised $400,000 to upfit the lighting, the sound. We have a movable fly screen now, fly curtains. And then early this year, we completed a addition in the alley. It's a small storage building that's at stage grade. So now every time we go from a movie to live and back to a movie, we can take all the cords, the drum risers, the tables, the podiums, the cables, and move them on and off the stage and store them securely in very close proximity. And then we also finished renovating the boiler room. So we have an old boiler room, which is the entire width of the building that's directly under the stage, which is now a green room and a hospitality room for artists when they're here.
Wow. Alrighty. So over the next 10 years?
So I'd say in the next 2 years, we'll be looking at an addition, hopefully on the back of the building, that will include ADA accessibility for any performers that have disabilities.
Okay, yeah.
As well as bathroom and laundry facilities. So performers don't ever have to go through the house. They can be totally in the back of the building. And then I would like to try to figure out how to make this building fully ADA compliant. Right now, it's only partially ADA compliant because we have no elevator to the second floor.
That's correct. Gotcha.
And that's a big project I got to figure out. That's a lot of fundraising and a lot of community engagement, and where to put it is a huge deal. But It's on our minds. It's moving to the forefront of our minds.
Is parking an issue for people? I mean, are you going to eat away at some of your parking in order to open up the back and do
so
this?
I don't have any parking. I'm the biggest building on the street, and I don't own a single spot.
I know they've got slotted places out there, and you go ahead and pay at a kiosk. And then across the street, poor co-op has to volunteer. I mean,
behind the co-op and the collab is a huge spot in it. Parking is always something that people like to kind of kerfuffle about in Grandin Village.
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, we have multiple sellouts a year in this building, and people figure out where to put their car and how to get in the building.
Just come early. Well, my thanks to you, Ian, so much for sharing the story of this Roanoke treasure. The Grandin isn't just a place to watch films. It's a cornerstone of culture, history, and community spirit. So if you haven't been recently, take the time to rediscover the charm of an independent cinema with deep roots and a bright future. Let's share their, the website is
www.grandintheater.com, and that's theater is R-E, not E-R.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much. God bless you.
My pleasure.
You've been listening to Let's Talk About, courtesy of Crowning Touch Senior Moving Services of Roanoke, Virginia, the only moving company with a consignment shop, auction house, and real estate division. We are a one-stop shop for any senior making a move. Check out our website at crowningtouchusa.com. Or if you are planning a move, call Anna at 540-982-5800 to arrange a free estimate. And don't forget to check out our monthly browse and bid auctions at 6712 Williamson Road in Roanoke, where you can bid online on over 1,800 items each month. Meanwhile, let's get back together next Friday at noon for more of Let's Talk About on Fox 910 and 104.3.